Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
So people actually think that New Yorkers voted Mom Donnie in? Mayor Kami Salami, you really think that we voted him in? Y'all really believe that? Everyone's like, oh, New York's finally getting their just due. They're getting who they voted for. They're getting what they voted for. Check this out.
I actually don't know whether Mamdani won the mayoral race, and I'm not here to say that he didn't. The problem we uncovered is that the New York City and the New York State boards of elections have no idea if Mamdani won the mayoral election either. Let's look at their official records. Did they or did they not qualify the voters?
That's a fair question. So what did the data actually tell you?
Well, the shocking news said, and nobody better than you to break this story.
Okay.
7% of the voters in that election do not exist.
They don't exist.
They don't exist.
They could be dead.
No.
They're not even illegals. They just don't exist.
No, they don't exist. They never existed. They don't exist now. They won't exist in the future. They're not in utero. They're not dead. They don't exist. We also found that 6% of the voters have social security numbers that the SSA, the official government website, calls impossible and invalid. So they have fake social security numbers, but they're voting in New York City and New York State elections.
But if you assume that Mamdani got every one of that 7%, he still wins.
Right. So here's the issue. His margin of victory is 207,000 votes. We found over 230,000 votes, and we have another 1.2 million voters to study. So out of 2.2 million voters, we studied about 1 million of them, and we found more votes that are apparently illegal than his margin of victory. Again, the issue is not whether or not Mamdani won. The issue is whether or not the boards of elections in New York are actually counting fair elections so that we are properly represented as we are constitutionally granted.
So guys, people that's not in New York, not from New York, this could be you. They're placing these people in position. Do you not see that? How the illegal votes that they counted surpass his victory margin. So we don't even know if this man even won in the first place. I voted for Sliwa. Who did you vote for? Drop it in the comments.
Let's start with an update. Casey, you're out of the race. You have
That's right.
You have watched Vivek kind of walk around the state, and there's not really an appetite for him, I don't think.
One thing that's minorly annoying is I see him out there and they've got like a whole new little spring in their step on social media, and it kind of annoys me. I started kind of making a few comments back and forth, but really I need to mostly just stay out of it right now. Not because I in any way endorse Vivek or the GOP in Ohio. I think it's all revolting, sold out garbage. But just because, there's a time and a place for maximum effect. I saw recently he got booed at a talk, and he should get booed. The more people wake up, the more revolting he is. But I have gone over that quite a bit.
Well, how's life on the other side of this? How's life on the other side of the campaign?
Well, it's pretty good. That was all a new experience for me, obviously the campaign. And then afterward, for a bit of a time, I felt kind of like I was walking around. I was like happy and content, but I felt like an 80-year-old man for a while. And the other thing you find out is a campaign does take a toll on you, whether you realize it or not at the time. And I ended up getting sick. Quickly thereafter, I had pneumonia and pleurisy and hurt my back. And I was just kind of a wreck for about a month. But I feel 100% now, and just taking care of all the things in life that all the loose ends that happen while you're focusing only on a campaign, fixing up the house, cars, growing the garden, spend more time with family, and kind of keeping the career back on track. And doing that. But, I really have taken largely a break from social media since then. And the simplest way I can put it, I posted the other day on my YouTube, was that when I started my YouTube channel in the automotive world many years ago, I thought, the one thing I can do is be honest. And a big reason why I really haven't posted any videos or anything on social media is if I say everything I know or think I know, I don't think the public can handle it at all. Or it would seem too radical after everything I've learned, observed, and seen. And so therefore, at the moment, in the context that I want, I can't go 100% absolutely blunt honesty anymore, because I can't take it. And I don't want to be a talking head BS theater, and I don't want to beat around. So I felt the best thing for me to do is just, remove myself in a sense from the public aspect in terms of politics, and live life, gather perspective, sit and think before and if there is another time to engage again.
Where do you think we're going from here? I mean, where do you think? I mean, I have my feelings on I think we're in the last step, which is demoralization. You can see it just by the public's withdrawal, right? On both sides of the aisle, there's a large amount of betrayal. And, you hear the comments that, oh, the stock market's doing really well and people's 401ks, but it's completely disconnected from the reality of what promises were made and what I think largely people want, which is they want to have control over their communities. They want to feel like that this perversion is not something that's adequately being pushed in every part of life, conservative side and liberal side. It feels like it's captured environment.
I think we're in the last shred of the veil of the theater on every facet still working on people. And part of the reason why we're at the last shred of the theater, and maybe they're lazily allowing the veil to falter for everything from media to government to the nature of our elections remotely being what people want. I think the reason they are being lazier about it is because they have much bigger things in store, and they don't really care if this falls apart right now because they're going to play their plays and see if they can just control everything anyway.
Well, I mean, in large part they do. I mean, it's when you control the judiciary, you can slow things down to a complete crawl. And that's in essence the linchpin behind every decision that's been made on the legislative side has been slowed down even at the state levels.
I think the things they're working on at least 2, if not 3 fronts or facets is so far above and beyond anything in a judiciary system that none of this matters, or at least that's the way they view it. So I think that's kind of where we're at, and one can run predictions and thoughts based upon certain things. I have calmed down a bit about that because I'm attempting to see every avenue things can go. But of course, the great concern when you look at how the chess pieces are being positioned quietly or hidden in plain sight by virtue of world currency structure, data, AI, etc., and wars for the sake of money and power having absolutely nothing to do with the superficial reasons they portray. I don't think that they care anymore about our theater, and that's why I think this is all lifting. So,
I mean, they don't need to hide it anymore. They have density, right? Or you saying
it's not? Yeah, I just don't think they're really trying. I don't think they're really trying because what they're playing at is a really close to the end of the game, and when you get close to the end of the game, things are going to happen.
Well, what do you mean by end of the game? I mean, there's actually 2 comments. What do you need by end of the game, and what do you need by end of the game?
Well, if we're going to speak from an American perspective, let's say we completely obliterate the nature of the U.S. dollar, or any dollars, or any of the natures of currency, or any modicum of the thought of being a gold standard. That's hilarious nowadays. Any modicum that any of the wars going on are for the reasons they're purported to be. Let me put it this way. one, it's legal for the United States government to propagandize and lie to its own people. Totally legal. Two, it's legal for the United States military to use lethal force against its own people. And AI is going to be allowed to control things within the military and government weapon systems. That alone can lead you down one dark path. But we're at a time where everything the world population believes about what a country is and represents no longer matters to the global elite and maintaining that the theater for the people. So we're going to see what happens in some of these chess moves toward the end of the game now.
All right. So do you think this is more of a play on constitutionality, or what do you think we're playing up against here? I mean,
they don't care about any of that. They don't care about judiciary systems, constitutionality.
Oh, no.
They don't care about any of our so-called stupid rights, as they would think about it, or any sense of morality whatsoever in any capacity. There's none at all. Vivek is nothing more than just a manufactured, polished puppet talking piece who's become wealthy on his own right for having done what I see as absolutely nothing for the general populace or civilization. And this is the game that's playing. So we're at a time where perhaps the best thing for humanity is if reality is not a perfect laboratory environment for people's diabolical plans, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's over the last 3 days, I had an opportunity to speak with a bunch of people in Washington related to what's happening with Mamdani. We just saw it that, hey, they didn't elect him, and they're starting to come to this conclusion that the election systems are largely fraudulent. I've been talking about this for 6 years, right? This has been, and I said to you before we came on that, hey, you really can't check. There's a chance that your election in Ohio, your primary election, was fraudulent. And your comment to me is, I don't know. I don't have enough information.
That's literally all I can say.
But the point that you don't have information and you're not given free access to that information is telling, right? 38 states, you don't have the ability to check back cast vote records. You're not allowed to look underneath the hood. You can't do a recount unless they tell you can. I mean, it's not a real system.
Yeah, to say the deck was stacked against me, even superficially, by saying that all the endorsements and stuff, okay, that's great. That's at the superficial level, but there's just so many levels of ways to keep people out. And in a way, probably it's possible that they, with their so-called stand down orders and pushing me out, were a lot easier on me than they might normally have been, because they expected me to have no chance. It's just so many possibilities. But I can't speak to anything relating to the election and its legitimacy or hypothetical lack thereof, because they really don't know.
All right. So what are you working on now? What's the new latest and greatest?
Well, the boring professional side is I'm doing some professional consulting work in the world of the automotive world and racing world, which actually I'm really enjoying. But I am going to start doing some YouTube videos and showcasing some vintage race car builds once again. I'll probably be a little more chill, a little more professional than the old days of automotive YouTube, but I'm at least happy to spend a little time doing some things that I love. So that's a real enjoyable aspect. But other than that, the kiddos are happy and healthy. Our literal garden is growing nicely. The house looks good. It's just feeling better about life at the moment, but obviously still deeply concerned with everything I see with regard to leadership or the lack thereof in our government levels.
It's enough to drive you mad. I mean, if you just look at the things that are put in front of us and the obstacles and the fact that we can't get over them, not because we don't have the will as the people, but we just don't have the tools or we're slaves. But besides that, I want to ask you a question.
We have a whole lot of tools, just ain't nobody using them now.
If we used them, it'd be a different problem. We'd have to go back to the government using it against the people, right? So
yeah, I just that was my fun. Just tongue-in-cheek thing here. But I'm sorry, you were saying.
It's just it being off for the last 3 days and not having to do this over the last 3 days has been kind of nice, because I've been able to kind of look at what's important. And when I got out of the race for the state chair and stepped out of the governing race, I found that there is life outside of this cesspool of just shit, because that's really what politics is just shit.
Yeah, and it's something I've kind of come to think. I think basically all of our tax money, aside from maybe going to the modicum of barely maintaining our infrastructure and stuff, is basically just going to one way or another to rip off the entirety of the United States and the people of its wealth, and basically all the borrowing. And we run the government basically just on borrowing. So the entirety of the United States government is set up, in my gut feeling right now, only to quickly strip all of the wealth of the American people.
Well, but let me just be devil's advocate related to that. I mean, 401ks are at a record high. The Dow is at 54,000. You're looking at from a 401k standpoint, it's double or even 2.5 times what it was.
Not everybody has those
2.5 years ago. So that gets to kind of how that institutional wealth is measured by the people that have it, and typically that's the haves, right?
Yeah, and the other thing, we're kind of thinking about this existentially. So the Dow, right, stock markets, etc. Look at it from a orbital perspective. It's just a game, and the house always wins.
No question. But sometimes
Just leave the statement at that.
But if you bet on the house, sometimes it works out in your favor.
Yeah, but deep existential thoughts about the nature of our society.
Yeah. What do you do? I want to bring it back to Vivek for a minute, because Vivek is obviously he's gone around. You saw the clip of Vivek saying, "Hey, look, I'll be fine. It's your generation that's screwed." He actually said that in a room full of young people.
I know they were nicer than I would have been had I been there.
They were pissed. They were pissed, and it was. And
they
these
should
are
be
the young people.
Yeah, and insult to injury. It's not like it's a baby boomer generation person that you might like up there. It's Vivek, an anchor baby born to Indian foreign nationals. He was conceived over there, for goodness sake. Bounced out of Ohio right after high school, after going to a private Catholic school, despite being raised Hindu, who took $50,000 of scholarship money from the Soros family, who already allegedly, as per one of his interviews, was making, I don't know, well over $500,000 a year while still in college. What, Harvard and Yale, I think? And yeah, it's just such a joke. He's so manufactured. Nobody, Vivek's existence is beyond an insult to the American people. His existence and the entirety of his profile is everything, and I do mean everything, that should be the hell away from any leadership position. And I just sure as heck everybody wakes up so that he doesn't end up with one.
This gets down to the greater problem, is that we've been conditioned to say, with the DEI and with this replacement theology that people talk about, that's actually not the issue. The issue is that we're putting people that are not competent or not able to actually tie their own shoes in positions of power and authority that shouldn't even be there.
Yeah,
on both sides of the aisle.
I mean,
because he's parading around as a Republican.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's probably just where he was able to buy him out more readily, And if you remove the fact that he's Indian, just everything about him, let's just pretend he's a white guy, he's still a revolting candidate and should be nowhere near any leadership position.
Agreed. But you can't. I mean, I look at Vivek the same way that I look at Kardashian Patel, right? Taking credit for things that he never accomplished. That in essence, that's what's happened.
Yeah.
Right. I want to play this for you. This is happening all over the state. Probably not as sensationalized as you said before. It's probably not as bad as this clip would lead you to believe, but there's a large number of people on the Republican side that can't even believe that he's the candidate. Let's go and play it.
The truth of the matter is, no matter what happens in whichever direction we go, people of my generation have already made it. We're going to be fine. It's going to be your generation that pays the price. That choice belongs to you.
You're a political cretin, and you need to get the fuck out of here.
I mean, they walked him off.
I mean, that exchange, his statement.
Casey, but that's the haves mentality, right? That's the, you give us exactly what we want, 56 cents on every dollar. We get to own your home. You own nothing, right? And like it, Daddy. But, and we can put cameras on every corner and tell you what to do. That's in essence what he's basically saying. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just elect me. He got booed off the stage, Casey.
I don't know. I didn't get to read it all. There was an essay that someone wrote early on in my campaign against Vivek that was notating about the book called The Fourth Turning of a Nation in Crisis. Yeah. And they were speaking about how my campaign, and as well as Fishback's campaign, but especially mine against Vivek Ramaswamy, is the absolute apex example of a fourth turning of a nation crisis, when it turns from the question being, are you, I think, qualified or managerial, to are you real? And that's where we are. The nation's evolved to the point where Vivek is this polished managerial class that's so wildly out of touch. There's nothing what people purport is real or genuine about him. And I'm very real. And I think that exchange that you saw with the booing is a direct, exact manifestation of that exact change that was represented in the fourth turning of a nation in crisis. So it'll be fascinating to see how that plays out with his campaign, over the remaining weeks.
Well, what do you think? What do you think it actually ends up manifesting into? Right? I mean, if we're looking at this from the standpoint of, this isn't the only problem. Let's look at it from the problem of influencers. You have influencers who are out there that are banding together, that are propping themselves up. Dan Bongino, Cash Patel, Julie Kelly. I can go down the line, right? I could build you a list of the people that said nothing to see here. Something's coming, something's coming, something's coming. On the other side, you have these deadbeats that are like, Anthony Fauci is the second coming of Christ, right? And that's a real thing. Like, you have people out there that are saying he did really good things, when in essence, the data is right in front of us. We can see it in front of our face. The guy's a dirtbag, right? So
every single one of the people in those two examples you just mentioned are controlled. The Fauci's King one, those people are propagandized into oblivion. They don't think. And what were the others? Forgive me. Let me put. Yeah. Here's the thing. This is the other reason why I really haven't done anything on YouTube since the election. I've come to this realization: we're all just controlled up, whether we realize it or not. You don't have to be directly funded by the CIA or FBI or some shell company or some rich guy or something to be controlled up, because all the internet algorithms are programmed, and everybody's going to chase views, and everybody's going to do what they're allowed to do, and they're going to push the edges. So if you just change the nature of the algorithms and where that is on social media, then everybody becomes controlled up. And let me put it this way, and I'm going to say this. This is what I think. Don't mean it mean, but this is a thought I had. So Tucker Carlson, I like him. He's saying things that aren't said. Okay, he's got a lot of power there. But after I ran, and I still admire him, I'm so glad he's there. But after I ran and put my ass on the line and took licks, some of which that may have a negative effect on my life even in the future, I thought to myself, I don't mean this mean, but what the hell is he doing? Is he running for office? Is he creating a movement? Is he leading something? Is he organizing people to do anything? Because he's still just talking, just like everybody else. Just talking. And I am tired of people who just talk. Put up or shut up. Shit or get off the pot. That's where I'm at. And I don't want to be controlled up, even if I'm not being paid by anything, just by virtue of being a YouTuber and existing within that little bubble. Because when everybody's watching, sitting at home, watching their talking heads that they like, doesn't matter who you are, but watching their talking heads that they like, it appeases them. And then they get accustomed to just listening to all the problems and understanding it, but nobody doing anything about it, instead of maybe getting up off their ass and going outside and doing something about it. I did something about it. Everybody else needs to get off their ass and do something about it. And that goes double for all the talking heads. And I don't care whether you have 100,000 followers or 100 million.
Well, I mean, this is the demoralization, though, is people are trying to figure out what to trust. And that's truly an issue.
Yourself, your gut, independent thought, nothing else.
But you got to create density, Casey. You got to create density. At some point, there has to be a density. There has to be a point of conclusion where we have some, we come together under a common theme. And it doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. We don't have that common theme. It's just team evil and everyone else on the other side.
It's too easy to control everybody and keep them divided based upon the nature of our world now and media. Any uprising would be squelched so hard by the powers that be, and people aren't getting up and going out and even partaking in their own civic duty. They're not even doing their own research on any candidate to know.
And these become the issues that I'm most concerned with.
I'll give you another example.
What do you think about? Go ahead.
Yeah, there's another example. After the election, there's connections and people and things, and I'm in a position. And I talked to some people who, they said, "Hey, if you ever want to run anything, call us. We're down for fundraising and helping." And I said, "Well, I don't know." But I talked to him afterward. I'm like, "Hold on, why?" I have a voice. Other people have a voice. Why aren't we finding funding for people to be talking and organizing and doing anything, even if we aren't running for office? And they seem confused. And I didn't understand that, because if you're going to build and run for any office, regardless of whoever you are, you should be building a base. You should be building a movement. You should be bringing people together so you actually have power. So why in the hell would you not bite on that? I'm asking that question largely rhetorical, because I already know the answer to it. But it's like all these people will support and people will donate money to a campaign, but if you don't win, everybody vanishes. Nobody does anything together. Nobody supports having a voice of pushing when there's no campaign. Doesn't it seem like we're just flawlessly conditioned just for that stupid theater, and that theater that we can't even verify if the votes are just anyway?
Well, I mean, look, it's and we keep letting them lie. I mean, the bottom line is it doesn't favor the American people. I mean, give me a decision that's been made over the last 20 years and hasn't been embraced the new suck. And it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. It really doesn't.
I know it's going to sound like an old guy, but I think about it going back. And in the 80s, I was a kid, and you're carefree when you're a kid anyway. But one thing that I noticed in the 90s was everybody started getting fat. And I noticed that because, I started turning into an adult in the late 90s and early 2000s, and I wanted to date. And I started getting to a point by college in the early 2000s. The question I had to ask is, yes, but will she fit in the passenger seat of my race car? I think we've been destroyed as people since the 90s, and it just kept ramping up and ramping up and ramping up. And now we're at a point where people are maybe starting to get it. Look at us. We're an American disaster. We're being destroyed in every facet. We're not even fit. Another drug, another thing to get it. Our food is all trash, toxic garbage. I don't trust the medical industry at all in any way. And now people are starting to learn that loads of our history is just a lie or fabrication. So, yeah, I'd say it, but what do we got? I don't like thinking about it too hard, because if you go to any commercialized area of America, they're all the same stupid chain stores. There's nothing there that matters for culture or people in any way, shape, and form. So if you just look around, where do you live that has any culture in America? Who are we?
I have some pretty good culture. San Antonio.
Yeah, you got that away.
Pretty good culture.
Yeah, some out there. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I do. 100%. But we talk about what people can actually do and how they can get involved. And they've been stymied at every turn inside the Republican Party, inside the Democrat Party. You have DSA on one side, and then you got the retards in the Republican Party on the other side. And they both use the same games and the same dog whistles and the same media in order to basically beat their opponents.
Yeah, they're both run like mafias. I said somewhere that I regretted running as a Republican. In a sense, I do, but it was a calculated thing rather than running independent. It was just so wildly disheartening because I'm like, what the? I would start going on media things, Republican, and I'm getting treated worse than if I went on a radical left podcast. The left was nicer to me. Some would actually do journalism. The right were just trying to destroy me from the second I announced. I'm thinking, I'm actually a conservative, unlike Vivek. Like, I've done things for society. I'm not a bad guy. I have no negative record at all. And I'm being treated like crap by so-called my own party that I voted for. You guys suck.
I remember the guy that showed up outside of a beer hall and wanted to debate you. And then you're like, just punch me in the face.
So it's fun, right? You enjoy that?
Just punch me in the face. Yeah, I love it.
Come on right here.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're back to the automotive stuff. I will tell you that it's different being able to step away, even if it's for a little bit. I get to come in and talk about this, obviously, for an hour to 2 hours a day. I get to, I can already see the train off the tracks. It's already off the tracks. And I don't mean to be blackpilling. I don't want to blackpill, but until we're able to capture our election systems and the voice of the people, we have no chance. There's no chance. Zero chance. And we're at that final stage of demoralization.
I think basically the only thing that people have left is constructive non-cooperation. The other thing is, if you want to think about who to vote for,
taxes.
I mean, that's definitely one of them. A lot of people are going to have to do it together, but and even that'll go funny. But what I mean to say is, like, another way people probably looking at it is like, okay, well, forget about your party. They both run like mafias. So just look at it like this. When you vote for somebody and they're going to do something to screw you, just vote forget this lesser of two evil thing. Vote for the one that's going to screw you in a way that's easier to disobey with everybody.
I mean, a part of me says, yeah, but the slippery slope is so far down the rabbit hole that I don't think that we'd have enough time to course correct. Like, at least right now, we're at the place where people are like, you had Buttigieg that got on the radio or on some show and said, we need to raise taxes so we can have high-speed trains. He said that. And I'm thinking to myself, the American people have less than 50%. They have 44 cents on every dollar that they go make. The first 6 months of the year is free. And the last 6 months, they get to divvy it up over 12 months. And you're telling me that they don't pay enough in taxes, that you can't have a train when we can't actually even implement DOGE cuts that are permanent, right? We can't even implement the capturing the amount of fraud that we have inside the government. And you want to tell us that we're not paying enough money in taxes? It's asinine.
Yeah, well, at least he grew a beard to look less gay. That's something he did since the last administration, didn't he?
He's still a gay dude. And I mean, you take...
No, I know, but it was kind of funny to me because when you see how the public reacts to that man and then his course correction to seem to be more palatable by a greater audience. I didn't mean that as vulgar as it may have sounded. It's just kind of a matter-of-fact way.
I mean, it is what it is. You didn't say anything that wasn't true, right?
Yeah.
Homophobe.
Hey, man, I meant a matter of fact. You want to think I'm afraid or not afraid, that's up to you.
Just don't step behind me.
or drop the soap, right?
All right, look,
my friend, I got to bail soon.
I know you do, and I'm going to make this a short podcast. But hey, I appreciate you joining me. I got some other stuff to talk to you about, which we'll talk about this week. And
yeah, I'll see that. Yeah, we never got together like last time on your podcast.
Yeah, no, I had some stuff that I had to work through, and I'm doing a little bit of that right now in my little tour. So
sure,
we'll get through it and get back together.
And you know what? There is hope out there. There is hope. And it's a beautiful sunny day today. There's a lot of good people out there. Yeah, it's disastrous, but perhaps some of it is our perspective too. It's always been this disastrous. It's just that now we see it all.
Yeah, but we had mechanisms levers that we can pull. And I don't believe those same levers are in place because you can't go to the judiciary because it's rotted to the core. They're all henchmen for a radical left, right? Or radical whatever. You can't go to the legislative branch because they're captured by dollars, right? And you can't go to the executive branch because they're all elected by really bad people.
Yeah.
With fake elections. Yeah, it's
try to be positive, man.
I'm actually really positive because I think that the people are getting to the point where they don't care. It's not a Democrat versus Republican thing. It's, get your hands out of my pocket, pull back the regulation, make sure that we have sensible things that we can run our communities by, stop trying to piddle our children and groom them, and let's get back to basic amounts of science and accountability. I think most people are that way.
They are. We're getting there.
Yeah. All right, brother. God bless you. I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Joe. See ya.
All right. So I didn't want to go more than a couple of days without coming on to the podcast. I spent the last 3 days in DC, and I do want to just give you a little bit of an update. Obviously, it's the 9-year anniversary tomorrow of my brother being murdered. That's why I came out here to pay my respects. But I got a little bit of downtime over the last 2 days, and I've been able to spend that time kind of reflecting, like what is it that I really want? What is it that I want out of the show? What is it that I want out of life? Right. So, we're going to continue to do what we're doing now, but after having conversations with people and looking at the kabuki theater that happens in Congress specifically, I feel betrayed. I feel betrayed by stupidity. I feel betrayed by handlers. I feel betrayed by the very people that say that they're smart enough to understand what's really going on, that they have a grip on all the institutional knowledge that we've had over the last 6 years. And I don't believe that that's the case. We have enough evidence. We don't need to sit here and talk about people who show me proof. And it's always the dog whistles on social media that say, show me the proof, as if you could lay it down in such a way in a 5-minute video that they could understand it. Because they're a bunch of retards anyway, if they're not bots. And these are on the left and the right. And, I had a conversation with a guy that runs the Second Amendment organization that fights for the Second Amendment. And he's like, yeah, I don't believe the elections are stolen. And I just stopped talking to him. I was like, you've graduated to retard. Because no matter where I go, when I go to organizations in DC or around the country, when I'm having private conversations, the same thing comes up. Yes, Joe, we know the elections are largely fraudulent, but we are put in positions of trust and authority within that system. And we have to do whatever we can in order to gain those levers that allows for us to change the system. But when they get in public, they're like, oh, that's election denialism, or, oh yeah, that's the thing that they go to is the same election, conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. And over 6 years' time, I'm laser focused on the truth. And the truth is the consequences for the average American has been dire. Interest rates are double what they were 7 years ago. Double. They're double, 2x what they were 7 years ago. It's almost impossible for the average family to live. Taxes are tripled collectively across the country, have nearly tripled in almost every state. Our elections are still kabuki theater and run by the same systemic problems that we had when we looked at it, even dating back to 2005, 2006, 2007. And the same problems that we would have were largely ignored because no one thought that anyone could largely affect the apparatus of our election strategy. But once they had density and they stole enough places and put enough judges in places and created this environment where you had these radical sleeper cells, then they had to get to the demoralization. 2020 did that. We had the J6 on 2021, and now we have evidence that they were talking about this inside the FBI and inside of the shadow government of our country in 2019. They had planned it. And in October of 2019, they ran through an entire pandemic strategy of what would happen if they had to shut down the economy, if they had to shut down the country, if they had to shut down the globe. And they did it. They were able to implement it and get people to act like idiots and use bots and use controlled media, controlled technology in order to make it look bigger than it was. These weren't a lot of people. I mean, even if you look back in 2020 and look at the Summer of Love, you're talking about a couple thousand people per state that traveled from city to city, a couple thousand people. I mean, I want to do the math for you. You had mostly people that were like, okay, maybe we should stay home to save grandma, because that was the thing, right? And then largely you had the medical community rally around a person named Anthony Fauci, who turned out to be absolutely demonic. And yet we sit here we are. We sit here kind of walking through the same tired formula over and over again of, trust the science, trust the system, trust Fauci, trust that Biden was elected, trust their election system. Trust us, bro. Trust us, bro. Trust us, bro. Hey, pay more taxes. Hey, why can't we have grooming dolls inside of Minnesota and pass them around the country where you can remove penises and pick your gender as if it's some sort of game? It's not a game. These are our children's lives. And in large part, this entire sickness has led to a near 40% rate of suicide among these transgender community. And that's something we have to have a conversation about, but we can't. Because you have to debate the ridiculous and ignore science. And now you got 33 genders and a bunch of retards that are in positions of trust and authority and think that one day they woke up and that they were a pink dinosaur. That's how fucking retarded we are. So, listen, I got to go catch a plane. I do want to put this up there. This is Fauci when Aaron Rodgers, obviously I'm a Steelers fan. This is Aaron Rodgers when he's talking about Anthony Fauci on Pat Silver's plan.
Tony Fauci is an absolute criminal.
Can you tell us about the mindset of coming into your last season? Like, that's a real thing, it feels like, because is everything better? Is everything funner? Is everything more awesome? Like, how do you kind of view this year versus maybe the years of the past?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay.
Okay. Gotta love that guy. Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
Hey, it's back, baby.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 111
You got a
times.
pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times at the White House. What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And how much time did the network spend to that? How much time did they spend on my responses every week, on my vaccination status, on Taylor and Travis's wedding? Did they do even a minute? Did they do even a minute on Tony Fauci?
No, I don't think I've heard anything.
I bet they didn't.
But on that note,
Then there was another scandal this offseason, too, involving a voter for MVP, for Coach of the Year. How much time did your network spend? Where's your camera? Did your network spend on that?
network.
I wish
How much time did you spend?
This is awesome.
Go back to Fauci?
Yeah.
Go back to the coward Tony Fauci and the science?
Hold on now.
Who's spending the entire time writing in his diary about how fun it is to be famous? You got to be kidding me.
Okay, so on that note,
What are you going to say about me now?
Debate him,
What are you going to say about me
no,
now?
I got no debate here. You had a 500.
No, seriously, what are they going to say about me now? Now you can't talk about the COVID stuff because obviously it was made, in a lab in China. That's like not even questionable anymore. Tony Fauci is an absolute criminal. I'm on good terms with my family. I'm on good terms with my family. What are you going to say now? What are you going to say
I
now?
want to let you know, it's been a fun ride for you, I would assume, over the last
It's
couple.
been a great life and a great career. And it's nice to be sitting on this side now, especially after that coward.
There you go. That coward Fauci, 111 times he pleaded the fifth after getting a pardon from Joe Biden. This is what we deal with. No accountability, and he doesn't even have to answer questions. He doesn't have to answer to you because you're a slave. You're an absolute slave. I want to show you a couple other things before I go. Here, by the way, is the vice chair of Trump's task force for fraud. So the government programs were created 100 years ago, were designed by Americans that had a high trust society until we were hijacked from within. Let's go and play.
Second thing about this fraud effort that is so important is that it is about restoring social trust in America. All of the programs that the fraud effort has focused on were set up for a high-trust society. The vice president was just explaining the difficulty in obtaining data to fight fraud. When Congress was creating these programs, some of them almost 100 years ago, we didn't expect that these programs were going to be attacked by fraudsters to the tunes of billions and billions of dollars a year. We expected, because that's the America that we were, that everyone would play by the rules, that the money turned over to help our friends, our families, and neighbors would be made available only to the people who really needed it. And that is just not true anymore. And so this effort is not just about protecting our programs, making sure that fraudsters don't bleed them so dry that they cease to exist. It's also about restoring social trust in this country.
There you go. And we should be, if we were looking at this the right way, said restore trust. You can't restore trust without tearing down and getting rid of the rotted apparatus inside of our government. We don't have a judiciary. We have a lawless society. In large part, the lawyers basically run things because they stick to procedure and create sticks that allow for them to steal from people. that go in to try and use the system the way the system was supposed to be used. To have a legal process, to have a process that was built on justice, but it's not. And so I just want you to understand that I'm not anti-hopeful, but it's got to happen a lot faster than it's happening now if you want to escape the slow boil, right? Or the incrementalism that has got us to this position. I wanted to show you this because I'm gonna have a different take on this, but this is Abdul al-Sayed speaking about the opportunities given to him in this country. And I'm gonna tell you why this bothers me. Go ahead and play.
Arc of our history. It's hard not to reflect on the fact that we just commemorated 250 years. And we all know those 250 years weren't perfect. We all know that a lot of that history was built on a set of foundational errors. And at the same time, I can't help but appreciate the fact that I know what America gave me. America is an incredible place. I used to live the contrapositive of the life I was supposed to live when I'd spend summers in Egypt. I crossed 15 hours and 10 years difference in life expectancy. But for the accident of being born here, I got the opportunity to get vaccinated against diseases that killed 2 of my aunts and uncles I otherwise never met. I got to go to amazing public schools. I got to go to an incredible public university. I got my medical education paid for by the NIH. And at the same time, growing up just 15 minutes away from me, children whose families had been here far longer than mine, who never got those same opportunities.
He's right. You have foreigners that come here and they get great opportunities while stepping over Americans. That's the reality. And frankly, if you're an American, great. You should have to adapt to the ethos that we have within our country. That should be the moniker. Not try to come in and basically Wreck-It Ralph and destroy communities from within. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. But I do want to tell you that this every election cycle becomes more important. But if we don't get rid of machines, mail-in ballots, we don't do the things that are necessary in order to right this ship, then I don't believe we can escape the death spiral. And we're in the last stage. The last stage is demoralization. They want to demoralize us. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene standing on this side that we're going to have the real American first, right? Now we're going to have the American first deal, right? And then the antagonist of that becomes President Trump. And over here, you have a DSA that's largely encompassed with the Democrat Party that is lost. It's a rudderless ship. It's just a bunch of retards running around trying to take more meat off the bone. And they're all screaming dog whistles. Homophobe, transphobe, Islamophobe. No matter what you do, you're going to get more of those dog whistles. Well, let's look at it from the perspective of what we can give. And the problem is that there is no side of the people. People are sitting in the middle trying to figure out which side's going to betray them more. And now they want to build a new America first. Finally, we're back to America first. And I didn't vote for this. I wanted America first, not to go to war. It's the same thing. If you want to demoralize someone, you have to continue to lead people down a path that says you're actually going to do what you said you did. And they're not doing it. I mean, whatever you want to say, the number one thing on the Americans' mind is I don't want to talk about elections anymore. Get me a place where it's actually a transparent process where I can see the back of the black box from end to end, and you can't. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I gotta go get on the airplane, but thanks for spending that last hour with me. And I apologize for the technical difficulties. You probably won't even see these on the rerun because they're going to cut them out, but let's pray it out. Father God, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Thank you for the American spirit. It's not dead. Thank you for the amazing people inside this country that have sweat and died and given so much. Father, help us that we may become a part of the process to heal this country and to put it back on the track of goodness and fight against this evil apparatus that's before us. Help us so we may stay committed to each other, and that we may set aside petty differences. I say these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong.